For more analysis on the DRC conflict, I'm joined live in studio by an international relations expert, Ambassador Boaz Mbaya. Mr. Mbaya is also the executive director for the Center for Policy Analysis here in Kenya. Thank you for coming to studio today.
Thank you for having me.
So obviously the DRC government is now saying that it's had a lot of success. It's actually been able to push the M23 rebels. We've seen the M23 rebels kind of collapsing. Are there signs of finally perhaps the conflict in DRC coming to an end?
Not necessarily, but I think it's a very important development. Important development because then the government of Kinshasa can begin to deal with internal problems. Internal dialogue, political dialogue with all the parties involved. It is essential that everybody is kept on board for them to understand where they are going from here. Yes.
And speaking of dialogue, President Kabila is now saying that he's going to form a government of national unity. Is this the right way to handle this situation, given especially that in Zimbabwe and Kenya, the government of national unity has not really worked?
There is no other way. There is no military solution to the conflict in the DRC. It is basically a political problem. There are two things. One, there is a group people called the Banyamulenge. Banyamulenge are a Tutsi group who are inhabited the eastern part of DRC. These are related to Tutsis in Rwanda and Burundi and also the Bahema community in Uganda. And until they are brought on board, it will continue to be a problem for DRC. So I think, yes, it is a step in the right direction. Yes.
But let's look at DRC's neighbors, particularly Uganda and Rwanda. They've continually been accused of fueling the conflict in eastern DRC, although they deny. And I know there's been previous agreements of non-involvement. Why has it been so difficult for them to uphold those agreements?
First, let me deal with Uganda. Uganda, the problem is really the Lord's Resistance Army. And Kony is believed to be somewhere in DRC or Central African Republic. And I think there is already an understanding for the governments, neighboring countries of the neighboring countries to deal with Kony, to try and get him arrested. For Rwanda, the problem is what I've just mentioned by the Malenga group, and also the Interahamwe group who have moved into DRC after the 1994 genocide. Now, these are situations which make the two countries very wary of what is going to happen in the DRC. But I think above all, the resources in DRC are huge, and they have a stake, they are interested. There are claims that they are actually exploiting those resources. And I don't know, but I think that is likely to keep fueling the conflict.
And speaking of resources, obviously that complaint has been leveled also against the UN mission there in DRC. But just how committed is the international community to resolving this conflict there?
There are two levels. One is the International Conference of the Great Lakes, which involves neighboring countries and other countries in the Horn of Africa, including Kenya. I think there has been an effort to try and have them meet and address the problem. But I think more fundamentally, the United Nations Security Council has taken a step to mandate the forces to try and help the DRC forces combat the problem. I think it's making a difference, and I guess that demonstrates the international community's commitment to the problem.
All right,
Yes.
Mr. Boaz Mbaya, thank you for joining us this afternoon.